Greenville, order online at wingzone.com. All right, welcome back to the show. It is Monday, and usually that's said with such angst. Monday, but I maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm pretty charged up. How are you, Brett Harker?
I'm doing great. You know that, Dan.
You're always charged up.
Monday. If you ask a college coach, what do they feel about Monday? They love Mondays. That's our one day off of the week now. I usually come in and do a half day, and so I can come and talk with Dan Scott.
Right.
But Mondays to college baseball coaches. That's our Saturday. So you'll never catch us being mad about a Monday.
How are things going? I anticipated. I was telling our audience coming in. I thought that here we are, game week, that you'd just be vibrating.
Yeah, we're excited. We are T-minus 4 days till we're rolling, and I thought we had a really good weekend of scrimmage. I thought some starters stepped up. I'm really excited about the way the bullpen has thrown the ball lately. I talk about pitching a lot because I just think that our hitting is really good. We have some experienced hitters with some depth through our lineup, and I tell our pitchers all the time, if you can get our hitters out, I think we're going to be all right. They're very, very unselfish hitters. They're not up there just trying to pull the ball every at bat. They can drive the ball the opposite way and can handle different pitches. And if you can handle those guys, I think we're going to be all right in the long run. When
we get together, we tend to talk a lot about pitching because that's your background. But if a pitching staff is going to be as good as it can possibly be, one of the factors most people don't take into consideration is you've got to have a great catcher to go along with it. And because they work in concert, and the catcher is kind of an extension of the pitching coach to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
You've got a senior in Cam Whitehead who, when he's healthy, has proven he can handle, not only can handle the bat, but handle the pitching staff, throwing out runners. He can do all that. The question with him is health. How has he been this preseason?
He's been 100%. He was very serious about his rehab this offseason, knew how big this year was. He was supposed to be a draft guy last year before he had the back injury. And you could tell the drive for not being able to get drafted because of that injury that he took through the offseason. And he's been dynamite. He's been everything we thought he would be and more. We also brought in Jason Costa, a junior college guy, to back him up, and Jason's been fantastic as well. He's going through a little bit of an arm issue right now, but he has swung the bat really well. He's a really good receiver. And what's nice about that is now Cam can get breaks here and there, so he's not getting the stress of 56 games. And we're excited about what we can do behind the plate. Listen, if you can't block the ball, you're in trouble. And that changes everything on what pitchers feel like they can do in 2-strike counts or runner at third. But when you feel like there's a wall back there and both of those two guys, you're right. It is an extension of what you can do off the rubber and what the guys are confident doing on the mound. And, look, there's some really good catchers in our league, and Hagan Owenby is pretty stinking good too. I'm a little biased. I just think Cam's the real deal. I think that's a pro catcher through and through, and we're lucky to have him.
The progression of a college baseball player is something that I know a coach loves to see, and watching Cam since he came on to campus, again, when he's been healthy, the way he's been able to rein in his arm, number one, as far as throwing out runners to second base, and his progression at the plate, his not only ability now but willingness to hit the ball the other way, and not just hit it, but hit it with authority the other way, makes him such a dangerous cog in your lineup.
You're right. He has such a strong arm. We always have to tell him that his 80% is everybody else's 100%. And he, when he gears up, he can throw it into center field with the best of them. I tell him, hit your cutoff man at second base.
That's right.
But he has done a really good job of staying within himself, and he can shut down running games. And you're right. I mean, offensively, I think the kid's got I mean, I think you could throw him in the Double-A lineup right now, and he'd hit in the 5 or 6 spot. I mean, he's that good. That being said, we'll see when Dayton rolls into town. You know, I mean, we think he's pretty good. He's proven himself, but like anybody on our team, that's all sounds great. But well, let's do it when the lights turn on here on Friday.
Absolutely, and you all you have to go by with most of these players is the track record, and with some players they have no track record with you, whether they're freshmen or whether they're transfers into the program. So you have nothing to go by until the lights go on.
Correct. My track record as a head coach is 0-0, and I'm getting a lot of people to buy into what I'm doing too. So I'm not going to hold it against those freshmen.
Well, I wasn't going to bring that. I wasn't going to bring that up. But how are you? I mean, let's get down to it. How are you feeling right now? I mean, with everything that has transpired from the day that you were named the head coach here, and you know, I kid you about winning the off season and all that stuff, but it's here, man. This is game week. Does the off season felt like it's lasted forever, or has it been a blur?
A little bit of both. When you think about, standing up in this facility here where I had my press conference, man, that seems like a couple of years ago. But then when you think about how quickly the fall goes by, and now I feel like we just got back from Christmas break and we're playing. When you think of it that way, it seems like it's blown by. How am I feeling? It's just extremely exciting. It's all. I don't sleep a whole lot, and I'm a pretty good sleeper. But it isn't out of angst or it isn't out of nervousness. It's just pure excitement. I love getting to the ballpark, and we've just had a lot of cool stuff going on at the ballpark as well. So it's cool coming and seeing all the different renovations, and it seems like daily we're getting stuff done there. And it's so much fun to see the players come in and see all this stuff being done, and you see the sense of pride and just how excited they are about the direction the program's going. It's fun to be at the ballpark, and it doesn't hurt when I absolutely love my coaching staff and we love hanging out. But once again, all of this stuff, winning the offseason, all that stuff, if we're going to do it, let's win it. So I'm happy with it, but now we're about to be faced with a much bigger task, and that's winning every day. And I had a long meeting with the guys yesterday, and I said, listen, I don't want to I don't want a 1-in-8 chance of going to regionals. And when I say that, it means you have to win the SoCon tournament. I don't want that. I want us to be going into the SoCon tournament, we're already in. And to do that, you got to win 40-plus games. Well, if that's the case, we need to lock in on every single game, whether it's the first game against Dayton, whether it's Tuesday when we go to PC, whether it's Monmouth coming here. It doesn't matter. Every game counts. And we have stressed that from the get-go with these guys. And I think they're mentally prepared for it. We're going to have to see, because baseball is a long grind. But, all you can do is base off of how you feel right this minute. And I think we're in a good spot.
One of the old cliches in the big leagues is, well, you can't win a pennant in April, but you can certainly lose one if you get off to a horrific start. And you can kind of correlate that in a much smaller time frame collegiately. 56 games in 90 days before you get to the SoCon tournament. So every single game has that importance factor to it.
Yeah, you're right. They're playing 3 times as many games as we are, and if they feel that way, then heck, we need to feel that way. And I played on some College of Charleston teams that we went to. I played for 3 years, getting drafted my junior year, and we went to regionals my second and third year there. We were a 3 seed at LSU and a 2 seed at Clemson, and we never made it to the championship game of the SoCon tournament, not once, let alone winning it. And we knew both years that we were in. We had won 42 games going into the tournament the first year, and I believe 43 or 44 the second year going into the tournament. And that's the position that I want our guys to be in. And I just think if that's the kind of culture that you build around here, that's got to be the first step. If that's not a goal, if your goal is to be 30-30 and hope you win the tournament, well, then you're probably going to be 30-30 and hope you win the tournament. Right. But we have high expectations, and I'm going to call a spade a spade. I think that we can be extremely good, and if you can't believe in yourself, why should anybody else?
And one overlooked factor in exactly what you're talking about, because everybody focuses so much on the weekend, specifically in conference play, but those midweek games can really make or break that resume, and people don't realize that. and until you don't win enough of them, and of course I'm thinking more along the lines of the years I spent covering Clemson and how big those midweek games would become if they had not gotten off to a great start or something like that. But those midweek games can be a resume builder if you're talking about getting to 40 wins.
You're absolutely right. And, some midweeks you have two. And you got two midweeks. I think our second week in action, we have two midweeks at USC Upstate and Asheville. And those are huge. I mean, people don't talk about them. All you talk about is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, if you have two midweeks, that's the same amount of games as Friday and Saturday. And that comes down to pitching depth. And that's where we've really stressed over the last couple of years in recruiting, is to get to this spot we're at in our pitching depth. And like I said, going into this, we feel a whole lot better about the guys that we can run out there that can throw it over that 17-inch plate and compete. Look, nobody's going to be perfect. And you look around the league and the country, and the Southern Conference is an offensive league. We had the number one offensive team in the country in UNC Greensboro. I think they out-hit the second-place team by 20 or 30 points. I mean, it was insane. When you look at the top 10 home run teams in the country, I think 5 or 6 of them out of the Southern Conference. Wofford always leads the nation in second place in stealing bases. It's a very offensive league. That being said, you can't be afraid to give up hits. You just need it to be nobody on when you give up these hits and home runs by not giving them free passes. And we stress that. And a lot of that just comes down to some kids with some moxie to them that aren't scared of throwing it over the plate and saying, "Here you go, big boy. Try and get it,"
This is Brett Harker, our high-tech graphic board, pointing that out. Slightly less of a technological marvel than the new scoreboard that's out in right field.
Probably easier to work, though. I will be honest with you. I could probably figure out your board a lot easier. I had to flip on 17 switches the other day to get the scoreboard running for our inner squad, and I said about a 7-minute prayer, and it turned on. So God is good. Once again, He cares about all the details, and He wanted us to have a scoreboard for our scrimmage. Nothing's too small for Him, but yeah, that one I could probably handle.
Yeah, well, that's simple. Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS method. That's what I do. SoCon John wanted me to ask you how you feel about the competitiveness of the SoCon now as opposed to when you pitched at the College of Charleston.
That's a really good question. People talk about the drop-off when we lost College of Charleston and Georgia Southern and Elon. And who else am I missing? There may have been one more in there. That would be true, except for the fact that we reloaded with Mercer and Sanford, and VMI and ETSU were actually in there when I was there, and then they left and came back. I think that it's much more even than when I was there. We were kind of the big dog there, and I'm allowed to brag on my team because it's not about me. It was just we were really good. We went 25-5 my sophomore year, and then 27-3 in conference my junior year. That's pretty good winning percentages there. So, I mean, I think that the top end was probably pretty strong, being a 2 seed in a regional. And then, of course, we had a couple years where SoCon was 2-3 regional teams. It's just much more even. I mean, we finished 4th place last year, and we're 2 games out of first place.
Right.
And Mercers and UNCGs and Sanfords and there's just a lot of competition in the world, in the SoCon world right now. And if I had to compare it, I would say probably a little better on the top end when I was there. But overall strength of the league, I think that we're competing. I think it's kind of like basketball where, man, it's just a tough league, and it doesn't. And basketball's starting to get the respect it deserves. And on any given day, I mean, anybody. I mean, you talk about the Southern Conference Pitcher of the Year. Will Gaddis went up to VMI and got beat last year. Mm-hmm. And even our teams that weren't that great last year could beat you at any point, and they're young and talented. So I think it's pretty even.
Well, if you look at just a basketball correlation, it may not happen, but there's still a mathematical chance that in a 10-team basketball league, 7 of the 10 teams have a chance to finish 500 or better. Wow. Inside the conference. So it tells you how deep the basketball conference is. And I think we're seeing the same thing start to develop baseball-wise.
You're right. On that note, I got to tell you, it has been so fun to watch our basketball
Hasn't
team.
it?
Oh, I tell you what, if I can't be there, we have it on at the Harker household on ESPN3, and we're watching it, and my little daughter's screaming for the Paladins, and watching the grit that those kids have. And man, I feel like in that last minute or two, they're just unstoppable. And it's so cool to see what Nico has done and brought life and energy to this campus, and seeing the student section and man, that's what college athletics is all about. And seeing the boys in purple doing what they're doing, we could not be more proud of them. We support them in every way we can. Our boys went out. They weren't able to go out Saturday because they were playing the same time of us, but I believe it was Wednesday night they had the other game. And showed up to the game with my whole family, and seeing 3/4 of my team going nuts in the student section. That's what it's all about. It's so much fun. So keep it rolling, boys.
You know, it's interesting, on the Furman message board, someone had bumped up the thread from 4 years ago when Nico was hired. And it was interesting reading, because it's 4 pages of, you got to be kidding me. They hired this guy.
Yeah.
Same deal, same thread. Everybody loved the Brett Harker hire.
Right.
Does that put any extra pressure on you? The fact that people love the fact that you got the job and have an expectation for a great baseball season right out of the chute?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. If I didn't have expectations surrounding myself or my program, I'm in the wrong spot, and I've been doing the wrong thing my whole life. I love it. I think that's where winners thrive and gamers thrive. And if you think you have high expectations of what we can do, you have no idea what I think we can do, because I can promise you my expectations are higher than anybody else's.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you this, and I think I've told you before. If I haven't, I've meant to. I love the fact that right from the very beginning, you started talking Omaha. I mean, that's why you play this game. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what conference you're in. That's why you play this game. And I love the fact that you started talking Omaha pretty much from day one and setting that as the ultimate goal for this team. And I think that's permeated its way throughout. I mean, you tell me, you're there every day, but I think it's permeated its way throughout your roster up and down, and people have that in their minds now as, hey, this is something that we can accomplish.
No, you're right. Listen, there's a reason why successful people are successful. The Marines don't lose when they go to battle because they are so brainwashed into thinking they're unbeatable. And we said from the get-go, our very first workout, that if we want to be the best, we're going to train like the best every day. So when we go out on the field, our opponent's already beat.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's just our mindset. If it's possible for us to go to Omaha, why would we not be striving for that? That's ludicrous to think otherwise. So, yeah, I don't know how. I don't know when. I'm thinking this year, but we're going to figure out how to get 1,076 miles from here, and that's TD Ameritrade in Omaha.
That's fantastic. We continue chatting with Brett Harker. What will the week look like? I know that you scrimmaged over the weekend. Is it you do any more scrimmaging this week, or is it just more focused on fine-tuning things heading into the opener?
If we do scrimmage, we may do a 3 or 4 inning scrimmage on Tuesday, just get relievers to throw an inning. But for the most part, we got our new infield put up, laid out, and we're trying to get as many reps as we can, ground balls on that infield, and starting to learn how to cover the bunts and everything with our new infield. So we'll continue practicing throughout this week and get ready for Friday. So Thursday will be a nice light day. Wednesday we'll continue to cover our fundamentals and bunts and cutoffs from relays and getting ready for Friday. 4 o'clock at Latham Stadium against the Dayton Flyers, and then we'll go 1 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. And we're really excited. The weather's supposed to be nice for the first time in 100 years of college baseball. And so there's no reason not to get out to Latham Stadium. We're excited about it. Come support the Dens. By the way, that was an excellent job of me continuing to talk.
Yeah, that's
to nobody right there.
If this were actual television, the producer would have been going like, stretch. The folks from Enterprise brought my car.
They'll pick you up.
Yeah, they will for our trip to Lexington, Virginia tonight. Tom Van Hoy and I, as soon as the show's over, are heading for basketball. And the guy standing there watching us do the interview, he said, "You've got a good show, but I've got to go." So
I'm going to be honest with you. My ADD was kicking in as he was standing in front of us. So I just looked down because it's like a squirrel in a tree. I get a little excited.
Yeah.
So I just stared at you and moved on.
Exactly. So I had to finally get up and go ease his pain and sign and get the keys so Tom and I can get out of here. Got your rotation set for the weekend?
I think so. We're gonna shock the world. We're gonna go Will Gaddis.
I wondered if he had earned the Friday night start.
He's got that. He's got that locked down. And Grant Sherman will go lefty on Saturday. Sunday, I got to talk with Coach Davis a little bit more, but we think we have the next 2 games locked down. I will tell you this: we need to win on Friday. So if I got to throw the kitchen sink on them, I got to get my first one under my belt. So we'll let Sunday and Tuesday work itself out. But that'll be our first 2 games. We'll go right, left, and those 2 are roommates and compete against each other, and they're knuckleheads about who's better than who, and I absolutely love it. So we'll see who wins that bet.
Let me tell you a story. I don't know, I may have told you this on the bus last year. I can't remember where we were, but it was a midweek game, and you left Will back. He didn't take Gaddis on the trip with you because obviously he wasn't going to pitch. May have had a test the next day or something. So during the course of the broadcast, I get an email from Sherman, and he and Gaddis are in the library supposedly studying. You know what they're doing? They're listening to the baseball game.
Yep, that sums up Sherman in a nutshell right there. I got no comment on that. At least they were in the library.
At least they were in the library.
That's the first step.
But and they were supporting their teammates.
Yeah, they are.
So give them a little credit for that.
We don't often leave guys back.
Yeah.
If they have a big assignment and they're not going to pitch, we'll leave them back. And I've got to the point where I think it's completely worthless because they're basically just tuned in the entire time.
Right.
Which I don't blame them. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They invest their blood, sweat, and tears, and what are they supposed to do? Go read about chemistry instead of watching the game? It's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, read about chemistry after the game is over.
Exactly.
Or before the game.
Exactly.
Are you one of those guys who feels like, man, I'd like to have one more week to prepare?
Nope, I want to play today.
You want to play today?
Yep.
I thought that was going to be the answer.
Nope, let's play today. If my arms were rested, I'd say let's go right now. I told our guys yesterday I'm so excited to just pull for Sky Overton or Nolan Mullen instead of having to pick every at-bat who I'm pulling for. Because, being a pitching guy, and that's all I've ever done, I'm used to only cheering for the pitchers. And now all of a sudden my cliche is, hey, let's go win the battle, because neither one of them know who I'm talking to. I got to keep it real neutral. But I'm excited about coaching all 35 and seeing the pitching staff pulling for the hitters and seeing Coach Davis be able to be happy when Carter Grote goes 8 for 8 like he always does, instead of being all ticked off about why can't we get Carter Grote out. And I said, because nobody can get Carter Grote out. You might as well get used to that. So I'm excited about seeing the team just come together and put 9 guys out there and say, hey, I think the purple's better than you. Let's play,
I can't wait. So 4 o'clock on Friday.
4-1-1.
4-1-1.
Yeah.
We will have full broadcasts of Friday and Sunday. There will be a video cast on Saturday as well, and we're working on getting somebody to provide some commentary there, but I've got basketball on Saturday. Okay. We are also, and I just go ahead and make the announcement now, we've ordered it. It's coming in, hopefully be ready to go by this weekend, but we're putting the school on-air signal back up, so we're going to have an FM signal to cover a good part of the area, and we're going to be airing the baseball games on those on a daily basis.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
That is great news, and we just thank you for all you do for our program. All the parents that aren't able to attend games and hearing your voice, and I mean, I know you do other sports, man, but baseball is your thing. That's your niche, and that's where you're.
I joke that everything else is just marking time until baseball season
and we know
rolls
that.
around.
You mean the world to our program, and for you guys listening out there, any way you can support the Dan Scott Show, please do. He's incredible, all he does for our program.
Well, I'll see if I got any money in here. I can slide your way. I appreciate you and the access and the fact that basically I'm going to be on scholarship now for the next 3 months.
Yes, you are.
So
Room and board.
exactly, I love it. No books. You don't want that.
No books.
You don't want that.
No books.
All right, we'll see you on Friday.
Sounds good. Come out and support us.
That is Brett Harker. Stay tuned. We'll be back to talk a little Reds Braves after this on the Dan Scott Show. Don't go away. One visit to the cafe at Williams Hardware, and you'll know you've experienced the very essence of Traveler's Rest. The cafe at Williams Hardware is open for